So think about it. For more than 22 years in your life, you know your report card and you know what you're doing in your school, classes, colleges. You always know your marks, ranks, and where you stand and how much you need to pass your semester. And you did everything right. You studied hard, gave your best in exams, cleared those interviews. You got your first job. But then, when you walk into your first office on your first day, all those report cards, marks will vanish. In colleges or schools, they grades you, but in your office, at work, they watch you. And those are two different games. Absolutely no one warns you about this. And starting your first job in India right now in 2026 is harder than before. All the reports in market says in 2026, the hiring level for freshers into jobs have significantly dropped, like 44% compared to last year. That's a massive hit. Top or big IT giants who used to hire in bulk barely takes freshers now. And AI is taking all the basic jobs like small coding, basic testing, creating products in the first level, documentation, designing, presentations, Excel, everything, which are the basic tasks that freshers used to do in their first job. If you are someone who is yet to enter this market, you might be feeling like you can be replaced at any second. But if you are in your first job already, the real problem isn't the job market or the people's expectations in the market. It's what happens in your head in your first 3 months when your excitement about salary fades and the real weight of pressure builds up in your head. And if you are sitting right now at your desk or sleeping on your bed and thinking about this every single day, I wanted to tell you that you are not stupid. You were given a wrong map in your college or school, which is completely wrong for the real world. When you are starting in your first 6 months, the internet loves to tell you that you just keep on growing, you just keep on getting motivated, start taking inspiration from people or communicate more with the colleague. But let's look at what's actually happening. Psychologists say this as competence ambiguity. In simple terms, it means that there are no more mark sheets, there are no more feedback loops on every single day, and you will have no idea about you are doing good or bad. And when your manager goes silent, you will start assuming that you are being worst or being very bad at doing things. So you will start overcompensating, working extra hours, overthinking about every single thing you deliver, every single email, language, English, and overall you are just burning your energy in pure panic. And let's talk about your identity crisis when you enter a first job in your first company. Because all your life you earned an identity like first bencher, topper, a creative head, he knows everything, and maybe a 9.2 CGPA guy, and it doesn't matter anymore to the people who are in office. Your high scores doesn't matter how you will work with a client or a colleague. You are back to zero. You are just a fresher, and this creates a blank space where you will completely feel unanchored. Even research says that most professionals who are entering jobs, they are highly burning out in their early career because they are hiding things, they are not communicating. This drains their energy so much. And that's not because of long to-do list or long things to do in your office. So you will nod at everything, you will accept whatever they give it to you, and you will smile whenever you are confused. And doing this 9 hours a day, every single day, completely drains your mind. And combine that with moving to a new city like Bangalore, Pune, Mumbai, Hyderabad, where survey shows that 56% of young people who are graduating and entering jobs are suffering either with loneliness or stress. Look, we need to completely change how you look at office. So the biggest mistake what everyone does is thinking if you sit in a corner and do your job very well, do that hard work, you will get rewarded in your role. That's not true. because hard work without any visibility have no use at all, because actual corporate world doesn't really play on the HR rules and policies which are written. It runs on those unwritten guidelines and that invisible syllabus. It runs on simple rules like when you need to speak up in a meeting and when you need to shut up in a meeting. It runs on understanding who really holds the power in a team versus who just has a fancy designation. It runs on how to learn the mood of a room of people before you voice an opinion. Nobody teaches you these things in your school or college, and you'll slowly observe people who aren't that great or that smart in your class might be doing very well in their office, getting promoted very quickly. Maybe they are either from a very good corporate background, parents, or found a very good senior who's guiding him in his corporate life, or paid very close attention in their first 90 days. So your first job is actually not about getting full marks or getting the best impression possible like how you will do it in your college, but your first job is to actually start learning about the room which you are entering and try to understand how it operates in a room. And this might not be possible only with your own eyes. You might need to find the right people who can mentor you, who can guide you, who can try to make you understand, and that's actually how you should change your mindset. So how do you actually handle this without losing your peace? Let's talk about few practical steps that actually work in an Indian setup of corporate life. Accept the transition phase and keep moving forward. Because when you came from straight out of a college where you are very comfortable, very confident about yourself, into a new environment where you don't know anything about the people, how it operates, what you need to do, and what's the background knowledge that you need to have. So this identity shift makes you feel little low and underconfident. You might even self-doubt and go to depression or something. I feel you should literally note it down about what you're feeling. Open your notes app in your mobile, just write down whatever you feel on your first week. And also you should write that my student life is over and I am in a new place, going to do a new thing, and I'm going to learn every single day for the next 90 days. Because people who only accept that they are coming to a new place and there is no need to self-doubt yourself, because everyone won't be perfect in their first week and you don't need to pretend like knowing everything in your first job. So accept it. The second thing is, as I said earlier, treat your first 90 days like a study, not for performance. Because your only real job in your first 3 months is to just study, observe, and learn. Because many people try to show off whatever they know and whatever they're good at in their first 2 or 3 days without even knowing the dynamics of where they are, and they'll end up most of the time nowhere at their work. So watch people around you closely, watch your manager, see what kind of work is getting appreciated, see what is getting ignored, figure out actually what good work means, figure out actually what bad work means, and also try to understand this point of view in your managers or in your reporting head brain. Because at the end of the day, that's the real appraisal source, and it might vary company to company, but the real thing is about understanding what people think in a certain way. So observe first, execute second. And third step is separate your work from visibility. Never assume that when you work very hard and that work will speak for itself. It won't. Now you have to make sure that whatever work you are doing, whatever decisions you are taking is actually visible to people who actually validate it, who actually make impression on you with that. This isn't about boosting yourself or being fake at whatever you're doing. It means like talking to your manager about what you're doing, how you're approaching things, what went well, and what you're learning. If you have any doubts or if you want to know better ways of doing things, try to to approach, communicate, try to understand his point of view on how you are doing things. Don't do this to please them or motivate them among all the other people in your team. Do it so that you can align your energy in the right way of expectations, and this will also make you visible in terms of progress. So in corporate life, always remember, doing great work that nobody watches is just a charity, and charity is bad in corporate life. And fourth thing is, find just one honest friend in your office. So that one senior who can help you, like a mentor, like a guide, like a friend, is very important. You don't need a career coach just like people on LinkedIn. You just need one good friendship with someone who's maybe 2 to 3 years experienced in your company. Someone who still knows that first job fear, but somehow figured it out and doing things well. Take them out for a quick coffee, grab some snacks, have some conversations, ask any doubts or questions or any feelings that you wanted to understand being in your first job. So this real unpolished advice actually saves a lot of your time and also help you not to make painful mistakes in your job. Don't completely rely on them, but try to understand what they are saying and try to get that one best friend in your office. And step 5, build a second identity outside your job immediately. This is the best decisions that you can make for your mental health in your job. Do not completely create your identity around your corporate ID card. Find a hobby, find a sport, find people, find a routine or a local community of sport, gym, games, anything. And that should have nothing to do with your office. Because when you're stressed or when you hit a bad day at your office, having a life outside it helps you really well. It ensures that your whole world won't collapse if you have that one bad day in your office. And step 6, set up a very strict comparison detox. Your first job is exactly when peer comparison becomes toxic. Your WhatsApp groups, your college groups, or your friend circle pops up with new messages, notifications, posts about getting a massive package or a massive promotion or moving abroad, having those business trips, buying great things with their salaries. This creates a very dangerous state of mind which feels like ambition, but that's a toxic feeling. When you aren't building a career for yourself but just running behind something because others are running in the same way. Every week when you work on everything and you finally get your weekend, just sit and think about your life. Are you really going in a way that you wanted to go, or you're just getting panicked because someone else posts or someone else messages in a group? So think about it, and this reflection will keep your mind much more peaceful. At the end of the day, people who can successfully finish their first year in job aren't tougher or aren't gifted by something. They are just the ones who stopped pretending that they know everything. They accepted that old ID card and mark sheet were gone, dropped down all the fake expectations which builds up in their brain, and took the time to observe, learn and make mistakes, relearn with some good mentorship, with some good conversations, and that's the real game. So take a deep breath. You're not running late, you're not falling behind, you're going to learn how to walk. So stop trying to win that race on your first day and just focus on understanding the track you're going to walk on. And if you're trying to build a better relationship about your ambition, your time, your work and yourself, this is exactly I talk about in this channel. And do subscribe to my channel and support me in this journey. We can keep having these real conversations and grow with better decisions. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.